operator, can you please connect me with OTR Halloween Holidays? I don't want to miss this episode of the Baba Ghoulie Show.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Victor Mature in tonight's presentation of Suspense. Tonight, Autolite presents the story of a cross-country train trip, during which a police officer finds himself torn between his assignment and his personal feelings for the girl in car 32. Our star, Mr. Victor Mature. This is Harlow Wilcox. Would you like to be responsible for your local church or hospital getting a big share of $100,000 in cash? Well, that's the total which will go to the recognized charities chosen by the 25 persons selected in the Autolite family charity drawing. The top award is $50,000, with 24 others from $1,000 to $20,000 each. To enter is as simple as signing your name and address, and that's all you do. Now, it's our privilege to have you hear what the head of one of America's finest organizations says about this great event. Here is Mr. E. Roland Harriman, chairman of the American Red Cross.
Thank you. The spirit of the Autolite Family Charity Plan is a fine example of the simple slogan of the Red Cross, people helping people. Just a slight effort to register may qualify you to be the benefactor of thousands who look to you for assistance through your Red Cross.
Fill out a registration form at any of the following Autolite family car dealers: DeSoto, Hudson, Plymouth, Studebaker, Dodge, Willis, Nash, Packard, Kaiser, or Chrysler. Remember, there's no obligation, but your favorite recognized charity may thank you for a large part of $100,000. Sign up tomorrow. And now, Autolite presents transcribed The Girl in Car 32, starring Mr. Victor Mature, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
Hey, Mahoney.
Bucher?
I can see better from here. How do you feel, kiddo?
Okay, I guess. Flying out here from New York last night and taking a train back this morning isn't my idea of fun, though.
Yeah, well, we'll show you L.A. next trip, baby. We got about 2 minutes.
You better tell me what this is all about.
We got a dame who's been living with Fritzie Hollister's sweetheart for the past couple of weeks. You know Fritzie.
Yeah. He's got a trunk full of hot jewelry I'd like to get my hands on.
Well, this is your chance, Mahoney. Now, we figure Fritzie's ducked the old girlfriend and made a connection with a new one. And her name is Genevieve Josephine Johnson. Now, here's the angle. She's heading east on this streamliner today, probably to wherever Fritzie's hanging around. It's a sit-up train. You're right across the aisle from her. So you work yourself in with her. And when you get a chance, check her luggage, find out where she's going to meet him.
I know.
Don't look so sad, kiddo. It's an easy job sitting on a train with a doll. Hey.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Genevieve Josephine Johnson.
Uh-huh. In the flesh.
I don't know. And I don't mean to argue with you. But to me, she just isn't the type for Fritzie Hollister.
Oh, stop your kidding. No job, for one thing. No family or background we can check. An apartment in Hollywood that rented for $450 a month.
Part of the act, huh? Everything else set?
All set.
All aboard!
Well, so long, kid.
So long.
All aboard! Good. Have a nice trip. Bye, Charlie. Bye.
Porter. Yes, sir. Carry your bag, sir?
The bag's okay. My ticket says 32.
Car 32. Yes, sir. That'd be the next car down, sir. You can board right here. All reserved seats. Yes, sir.
Thanks. Pardon me. Pardon me, please. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, miss.
It's all right.
Careful now. Don't look at her sitting there in her little brown suit and white blouse. Just take off your hat, lay it on the seat, pick up your magazine. But don't look over there. No. Don't reach over and offer to light a cigarette. She can do it. She's okay. Don't lean across the aisle. Got plenty of time. It'll happen soon enough. So just relax and just let it happen. You know what you're doing, boy. That old Mahoney technique.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, hi, bud.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Well, sir. Hello there, little lady. How are you, huh? Hey, you mind if I take your seat for a minute? I'm on my way to the club car. It's a long walk. Well, that's one way to sit down, huh? Now, what's the matter? Ain't I even human? Ain't I even looked at, huh? Hey, you. Well, Miss Hi-Hat. Hey.
Please go wherever you were going and leave me alone.
Ah, come on, little lady. Have a nice friendly drink with old Frank Tars. How about it, huh?
Pardon me, miss. Hey, you.
Hey, wait.
Now, just what's the idea, Buster? What are you doing in this car anyway? And what are you looking for? A good punch in the mouth, maybe?
Oh,
No, he's bothering me, yes, but I don't want any trouble about this.
Oh, boy, it's a hassle about pal. I get off in a couple of minutes. The same we're doing. I didn't mean to insult anybody. All I thought that...
Yeah, all you thought. Then who asked you to sit down with the young lady, huh? Who wanted you? Why, I ought to...
Please, it's all right. It's perfectly all right. Just don't hit him more.
Where's your car?
It's back there.
Come on, I'll take you. I said, come on.
Just a minute.
Please,
Come on.
don't
Get
hurt
moving.
him. Don't hurt him.
It's all right, miss. Don't you worry. Come on, move on.
Hey, now, wait just a minute. You know who I am?
Yeah, I know who you are.
Okay. You can let go now. Huh. So you're Bright Eyes, huh?
You can leave off the bright eyes.
Yeah, sure. It's your day to be touchy, huh? You look pretty good back in there. You see her wring her hands and wink them big brown eyes?
Where'll you be?
Compartment A next door whenever you need me. Well, she's waiting for you, Mr. Hero.
You know, I wish I had poked you, Dane.
You're a nice big New York copper, Mahoney. You got the jaw and you got the shoulders. I heard all about you. You look like you could do it. Well, I'm just a beefy blot working out of L.A.'s Central Division, but I could whip you, boy. So easy.
I'd better get back.
Yeah, sure. I envy you, Bright Eyes. You two will make a nice couple.
He won't bother you again, miss.
Oh, you didn't hurt him or anything like that, did you?
Oh, no. I just took him back to his car and asked him to stay away from you.
Oh, it was embarrassing. This is the first time anything like this has happened to me. I'm glad you helped out. Thank you very much.
There's no trouble at all. Oh,
What?
I'm out of matches.
Oh, well, I can help you there. I have some in my purse, I think. Yes. Here you are.
Thanks. Would you, grab a cigarette?
Well, thank you, yes. Why don't you sit down? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. What?
My goodness, it was kind of funny, wasn't it? He was so tight.
Yes. Yes, it was funny. The old razzmatazz. Don't ask, just answer. Don't laugh, but smile about it. Let her see your teeth. Don't move close. But let her know that you've got shoulders there, boy. And the other trick. Keep your hands open, spread out. Talk. Then stop. Look a while. Watch the orange groves go by. Watch the houses go by. Watch your life go by.
What? Oh, my goodness. You must have money in the bank. You're talking to yourself. What's the trouble?
I think I'll stop looking around out there. It's beginning to worry me. Too big or too empty or too something, I don't know. You, like it, do you?
Oh, it's lovely. The most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life. It's breathtaking. Oh, and people call me Jenny.
Jenny for Genevieve, huh?
Yep, Jenny Johnson.
Well, they call me Mahoney. And, some other things sometimes. My name's Harry. Oh, where are you heading anyway? All the way east?
All the way and more. Bayside Hills, Pennsylvania. I work in a dentist's office there.
Now that's funny. Maybe the suntan threw me. You know, I kind of thought you lived in L.A. And mostly that you didn't work.
Oh, dear. Well, I did live there for 3 weeks in a simply marvelous garden apartment in Hollywood, right off Sunset Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
They had a heated pool. Oh, it was wonderful.
Say, it sounds expensive.
Oh, it was, terribly. But I shared it with a couple of other girls off and on, advertised in the papers, you know. Only...
Only? Well, go on. Something happened?
Only, maybe I'm funny in some ways. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but some things I just... Well, there's not much point of going into that part.
I get it. You got stuck with a cute little blonde who always wore your clothes or something.
Cute? Oh, not for my money, thank you. What happened, anyway, was that she got out last week after one of her parties. When I said what I had to say, she got out pretty darn fast, believe you me. My goodness, did I say something? Why are you staring at me?
Who? What? Oh, staring at you. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, now that's all right. My goodness. For some reason, it seemed like you were looking at me for the first time.
I seen you go to dinner with her. You're doing okay, Bright Eyes.
Yeah, but it doesn't add up. Too homespun for this trick.
Huh? Well, what's she done? Thrown up a smoke screen? That homespun stuff's all part of the act. She's Fritzy's girlfriend, all right. Remember, you're the operator, boy, not her.
She's going to a place in Pennsylvania.
She tell you she's got a little old mother and a little old father waiting for her back home?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great act. She's just a better actor than you are. Now, there's nothing in her luggage on the baggage car, but Fritzy must have slipped her some little trick in her. Hey, it took a lot of fixing to set this up, getting you the space across from her and all. So keep your eyes on her, Bright Eyes. That's what you're here for. Keep on her.
Hi.
Did you get your glass of water?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be getting pretty late, doesn't it? Hadn't we better call it a night?
Oh,
What?
why... Well, couldn't we sit here another half hour and just talk about things? Why couldn't we?
Oh, I suppose we could. That is, if you don't expect...
Oh, I don't expect anything.
Well, we'll talk about what?
We'll talk about you.
Oh, no, we won't. There's nothing to talk about.
That isn't the way I heard it.
Oh, you didn't hear anything about me.
You'd be surprised, sister.
What?
Nothing.
I don't think you want to talk very much, do you?
No, I want to find out something.
Harry, no.
Oh, anything the matter?
No, please. I don't care for that sort of thing. You promised. You said...
Oh.
Please?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I just...
That's quite all right. The first minute it got dark, though, you had to try it.
I told you I'm sorry.
Forget it.
You know, I'd like to tell you something. I'm not that kind of a guy. I never was. I've had so much of that stupid messing around.
Oh, so much of it? I see. Well, I haven't. And I don't think I'm sorry either. I want it to mean something with me, and it won't be stupid. That's silly, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
It's awfully late, really it is. I'll see you tomorrow.
Kansas City Star! Get your Kansas City Star here. Star here. Kansas City Star.
It's about time. Why didn't you come back last night?
I didn't feel like it.
Did you get anything else done?
I went through her suitcase when she was asleep.
Yeah?
Dresses and things, shoes, bathrobes, some stuff for underneath, that's all. The dress cost maybe $15 at the outside. It was the most expensive item there. And that suit that she's wearing went for $40 at a sale. You know that.
All right, so she's smart enough not only to act it, but to have the right props.
This isn't Fritzy's girlfriend. He wouldn't know one like this, and she wouldn't have one like him.
That's the second time you've said that. How do you know?
I just know. I found out.
You're getting older and you're getting dumber, Bright Eyes. You getting fed up?
She'd never have anything to do with somebody like Fritzy. I told you that once before, too.
Hey.
What?
Fritzy.
What?
Just walked by outside the window carrying a suitcase.
Get your star here. Get your star here. Kansas City Star.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
Yeah.
Getting on this car. You see the little guy in the overcoat, the cigarette?
You're right. It's Fritzy Hollister.
Yeah, sure, I'm right. He just sat down beside Genevieve Josephine Johnson from Pennsylvania.
Well, you know, look, it could be just a coincidence.
So she's a nice kid, huh? Couldn't have anything to do with a bum like Fritzy, huh?
Come on.
Now, stay where you are. We'll make our play when the time comes.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Victor Mature as star of The Girl in Car 32. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Why, that's the car for me, Harlow.
You mean that new Packard that just passed, Jim?
Yes, sir. That's the popular price Packard Clipper with the power and luxury that only Packard can put into a car. And have you seen the Packard Patrician? That's the finest car ever to bear that famous Packard name.
A name we're privileged to salute tonight on Suspense. Packard, an outstanding member of our worldwide Autolite family.
Well, Packard is outstanding in every way. Its ruggedness and dependability have withstood the most tortuous tests that Packard engineers can devise. Packards have proved over and over that they have what it takes under every road and weather condition. Yes, sir, Harlow, when you get an Autolite-equipped Packard, you get real value. And you get a car with one of the most famous of all fine car names, Packard.
Yes, and Autolite is proud of its long association with Packard and with Packard dealers everywhere. And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Victor Mature in Elliot Lewis's production of The Girl in Car 32, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Now use your head, Bright Eyes. It's no mistake, no crazy coincidence. Even if she sat there all day and hasn't talked to him once, the little bird in the blue overcoat is Fritzy Hollister. And you were trying to steal his girl. Use your head. She was fast enough and smart enough to spot you right off for what you were. But she handled you last night like a schoolboy. She couldn't warn him from the train, but she's given him a poke in the ribs or an elbow or something so he'll play it straight here. Sure, she's Fritzy's one chance. She'll work on you again, Bright Eyes. And watch that. Because you don't want to let either one of them slip off the hook.
Asleep?
No.
Cup of water?
No.
drink it myself. I can't sleep. Not with that strange man over there.
What's so strange about him?
What?
Skip it.
Do you feel like talking?
Sure, let's talk. Why not? Sit down.
Thank you. Well, I wonder what this stop is going to be.
I'm glad you wanted to talk. But suppose you drop the rude girl routine, huh?
My goodness. You're all right in the daytime, but at night you come out with the silliest things. Say, what do you mean by that?
Big laugh. Big laugh for you.
What?
For a couple of minutes last night, I was stupid enough to believe you, sister.
What?
Not now, though, and don't you forget it.
What on earth are you talking about?
I said cut the act.
Well, I don't have to have anyone to talk to me like that. I think you're crazy. You must be. You must have something all twisted up in your head, or you wouldn't say things like this. Oh, darn. I've been so thirsty all day. I think I'll get some water.
Stay where you are. I'll get the water.
Now, see
I'll
here,
get the water.
Hi.
Hi.
What's the idea of leaving them together when we come in a station?
I'm sick of it. It happens here or else.
Now, look.
Shut up.
Hey, Fritzy jumped over in your seat.
Yeah.
And he's talking to her.
Yeah, he had to sooner or later. Right now, she's telling him I'm a cop, and they'd better scram out while the scramming's good.
You hit it on the head, boy. There he goes, heading for the door.
He won't make it.
Hey.
Come on. Hey, Fritzy.
What?
I've been waiting for you to try something like this. Your girlfriend's pretty smart.
Look out, Bright Eyes. He's got a gun.
No, you don't.
Stay away from me. Stay away from me.
No good, Fritzy. No good.
Are you okay?
Yeah, here. Hold on to it.
All right. Hey, where you going?
To get his girlfriend. I want to attend to her personally. All right, stand back. Stand back. Get out of the way.
Say, what's all this? What's...
Police officers, keep these people back.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do that, sir.
What happened? What on earth is it?
Stow that, baby. This is a pinch.
What?
Come on, come on, come on. Up on your feet. We've got Fritzy in a huddle.
How? You're hurting me.
And you're killing me with those big brown eyes.
Why, you just...
Pretty smart you were, only you forgot one little thing. You forgot the first rule of Broadway. Never hustle a hustler. Just who do you think you had anyway? Some clown on a train or Bright Eyes Mahoney? Cut up the tears. Come on.
Now then, what's it all about, Sergeant Mahoney? We can keep the man for carrying a gun.
That'll do for a starter. We've got 1 million charges against him. He pulled the biggest jewelry heist in the country last year.
You can get some papers out here to me?
Sergeant Danes is phoning Los Angeles right now.
All right. Now, what about the lady?
Hold her, too, for disturbing the peace if you have to. She's Fritzy's girlfriend. She'll be named accomplice.
Oh, I see. Well, she sure cries a lot. I'll hold him for you. Anything else you want from me?
Hey, Bright Eyes. We got a mix-up.
What do you mean?
Well, you're a little mixed up, boy. That's what I mean. I've been on the phone to L.A. straightening it out for you. Fritzy's old girlfriend and that other one had the apartment together in L.A., okay? But that's all. She's not tied up with Fritzy. She never was.
Why'd you meet her on the train?
Because Fritzy's girlfriend left an old trunk after her in the storeroom. How was this Johnson dame to know that there was a couple of $100,000 worth of stolen jewelry in the false bottom? Naturally, Fritzy wanted it back, so he found out this tomato you were bright-eyeing with was coming east, so he just grabbed a plane so he could meet her in K.C. He wanted that trunk, boy.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Well, sir, that's it. She's no more Fritzy's new girlfriend than I am. You know, it's funny how things work out. The trunk's been in a hock shop in L.A. all the time. Little Miss Muffet got rid of it to clean up the place when she moved. What's the matter? You sick or something?
I told you she wasn't Fritzy's girlfriend. I told you.
Well, I got that all straightened out for you now, Bright Eyes, so you...
Write out a release, will you, Sheriff, for Jenny Johnson?
Sure. Sure, glad to. You know, I wanted to do just what you did ever since that fella started talking. He bothers me.
The next one will be through tomorrow morning, Jenny.
Thank you.
It's a real nice train, streamliner and all. They have a compartment for you. Jenny, can I say anything? Can I do anything? You know, when I remember what I was beginning to feel in my heart and what I've done to you, I just...
In what? In your heart. Oh, you proved it, didn't you?
Oh, Jenny,
well,
look, I'm
that's
sorry.
all right, Bright Eyes. I heard them call you that. You're very clever with all women, and I'm very stupid, I suppose. I didn't even know the first rule of Broadway, but I know what I want anyway. I want you to leave me alone. I don't ever want to see you again.
Jenny, I know what I want. I found out sitting in that seat beside you.
You just get away from me, the things you said to me and the way you act. Because what? Because you cared for me, I suppose.
Because I cared for you, Jenny. You know something? I'm going to be on that train with you tomorrow morning. Yes, sir, Jenny. I'm going to be on that train with you.
Suspense, presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Victor Mature. This is Harlow Wilcox again. Remember, you now have a good chance to do your favorite local or national recognized charity the favor of a lifetime. If you're one of the 25 persons selected in the huge Autolite family charity drawing, you can name any recognized charity you wish to receive a big share of $100,000 in cash. Those charities can be schools, hospitals, churches, the American Red Cross, or any other recognized charity. So if you're 18 years or over, visit any of the following Autolite family car showrooms: DeSoto, Hudson, Plymouth, Studebaker, Dodge, Willis, Nash, Packard, Kaiser, or Chrysler. Print your name and address on the drawing registration form and have the car dealer sign it. That's all. Nothing to buy, try, or solve. So give your favorite recognized charity a chance to share in this huge $100,000 Autolite family opportunity. Visit any Autolite family car showroom and sign up tomorrow. Next week, the story of a man who found that everything was against him. His wife distrusted him. His best friend had to give him an alibi, all because of a girl. A dead girl. It's called The Guilty Always Run. Our star, Mr. Tyrone Power. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is transcribed and directed by Elliott Lewis, with music composed by Lucien Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Girl in Car 32 was written for Suspense by E. Jack Newman from the story by Thomas Walsh. In tonight's story, Kathy Lewis was heard as Jenny and William Conrad as Dane. Featured in the cast were Herb Butterfield, Joseph Kearns, Roy Glenn, and John Daner. Victor Mature appeared by arrangement with 20th Century Fox, producers of Prince Valiant in Technicolor and Cinescope, starring James Mason, Janet Leigh, and Robert Wagner. And remember, next week, Mr. Tyrone Power in The Guilty Always Run. This is the CBS Radio Network.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. During the intermission, our radio show brings to you a cartoon for the record. We now return you to our radio show. Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at Watchwaddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda. Hope all you ghoulies out there are enjoying today's radio program. Be sure to check out Channel Watchwaddle's Midnight Spook Show at 10:45. And don't forget to wear your 3D viewer helmet for the full in-the-movie experience.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Lights Out, a summer revival of the famous series which many of our listeners will remember. Tonight's story, the eighth and the last in this series, is called The Signalman.
Lights out, everybody. This is the witching hour. The hour when dogs howl and evil is let loose on a sleeping world. Sit in the dark now and listen to Lights Out.
Hello, below there.
I was calling to a man who stood beside a railroad track at the bottom of a deep and rocky ravine. One would have thought that, considering the nature of the ground, he would have looked up to where I was standing. But instead he turned and looked down the railroad line. I called again.
Hello, below there.
Because the terrible glare of the setting sun was in my eyes, I put my left arm across my face and waved to him with my right. He looked up, and I saw in his face an expression of intense horror. He regarded me fixedly without moving. I shouted,
Is there a path by which I can come down and speak to you?
He continued to stare at me. Gradually, the expression of horror seemed to pass from his face, leaving it a gray, empty mask. When he spoke, his voice seemed to come from a grave.
Why do you wish to speak to me?
No reason. Just want to talk.
If you have no reason, then please go on your way.
Well, I do have a reason. Let me come down and talk to you.
He motioned with his little rolled-up flag to a narrow path about 200 yards distant, which descended the rocky wall of the ravine. I carefully made my way down it. The ravine was extremely deep and unusually precipitous. The man's post at the bottom was in as solitary and dismal a place as I'd ever seen. I could see the railroad tracks running into a dark, gloomy tunnel at one end of it. So little sunlight ever found its way to the spot that it had an earthy, deadly smell. And so much cold wind rushed through that it struck chill into me, as though I'd left the mortal world. Hello, I'm afraid I'm intruding.
Well?
I'd better explain. You see, I'm a reporter for the London Times. You know the Times.
Yes, I know the Times.
Well, I'm a new man. I was assigned to do a series of stories on people who work at little-known occupations in the city. And strolling along, seeing you down here, I thought, here is a story.
And that's the reason that brought you down here?
Yes. Perhaps I'd better ask you a few questions, hadn't I? For instance, how far down are we? I've never seen anything quite like this before.
52 feet.
Is that considered deep for railroad cutting?
Deepest in the country.
52 feet, hmm? And how long is the tunnel?
3/4 of a mile.
I see. And that red signal light in front of the tunnel, is that part of your job? I mean, do you have to see that it stays lighted all the time?
Don't you know that it is?
Don't I know it is? Oh, look, you've been staring at me ever since I called to you. Staring as though I were something to be afraid of. I'm just a newspaper reporter, that's all.
I thought I'd seen you before.
Seen me? But where?
There. By that signal light.
But I've never been here before. It's a part of London I've never visited. No, you may be sure of that.
Perhaps I may. Yes, I'm sure I may. I beg your pardon for being so unfriendly. It's just that... Well, I made a mistake.
That's all right. I shouldn't have come down, I suppose. After I saw this unusual ravine in the tunnel and your job down here, I felt I had to come down and talk to you.
I think I'm glad you did. I have very little company. This is a world here different from other men's worlds.
I can believe that. May I ask, what exactly is the nature of your job? I mean, besides keeping the signal light burning and flagging the trains, what do you have to do?
Not very much. I operate the telegraph in my hut over there. Turn this iron handle now and then. That's all.
And you're down here all the time?
Yes.
Don't you ever get a chance to take a few minutes off and get up there and top in the sunlight?
Very seldom. I can't leave the telegraph. By the way, I have a fire in my signal house. Wouldn't you like to come in and warm yourself?
Oh, indeed I would. This wind cuts right through me.
We'll hurry along. There. This will be better.
Yes.
I'll just put a little more wood on the fire, poke it down.
How do you stand that wind? I'm about frozen.
I've been here 8 or 9 years, maybe 10. I'm used to the wind. It never changes. Here, take this chair close to the fire.
Oh, thank you. Tell me, don't you ever feel cut off from the world? Almost as though you were marooned and isolated down here?
Yes, I do. This is a world in itself, down here. It's as wide as the tunnel is, and as high. Those are the boundaries of my world. For 1 hour, sometimes less, the sunlight falls into it. And at night I see the bright stars, as other men do. But that is all our two worlds hold in common.
But why did you ever take such a job?
Because Oh, excuse me. A message.
Certainly.
6:15, Roxborough, 10 minutes late. Received message. All's well.
Do you know, after talking to you, I feel as though I've at last met with a completely contented man.
I believe I used to be so at one time. But now, I'm worried. Worried.
About what?
I don't know. It's difficult to explain.
Perhaps I can help you.
I've been thinking of that. I've been wondering.
Tell me.
I've got to tell someone. And yet, give me some time to think it over. Say until tomorrow night, perhaps then.
You mean you'd like me to come back?
Yes, if it wouldn't be too much trouble.
I'll be here, about the same time. But why not now? Why can't you tell me now?
I want to think it over in my mind first. I want to be sure. Meanwhile, let me light your way to the path.
Oh, yes, of course.
Don't forget your pad and pencil.
Thank you. Oh. Dark, isn't it?
Yes, be careful. Everything gets damp and slippery down here at this time of the night.
Oh. I didn't think 52 feet would make such a difference in atmosphere.
There's the path. And let me ask one favor of you.
Yes?
When you reach the top, don't call out.
Very well.
And tomorrow when you come, don't call out. Tell me, what made you cry out hello below there tonight?
I don't know. Did I cry something to that effect?
Not to that effect. Those were the very words. I know them well.
I suppose I said them because I saw you below.
With your left hand across your face and your right arm raised.
The sunset was in my eyes.
That was the only reason?
What other reason could I possibly have?
You had no feeling that the words and gesture were conveyed to you in any supernatural way?
No, of course not.
I see. Well, good night, then. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yes. Yes, tomorrow night. That night, I slept poorly. Or rather, I didn't sleep. Because the man's face was constantly before me. And there was something in the eyes of fear, a wordless crying, agony of spirit that fevered my own brain and wouldn't let me rest. All night long, I watched the face, and behind it was the sun going down in flames beyond the ravine, and a figure which I recognized as myself, one arm shading the eyes, the other waving and standing in the ravine and shouting, "Hello, below there!" In the morning, my landlady awakened me. She said I'd been crying out in my sleep all night. Throughout that day, I worked with one eye on the clock, counting the hours until my appointment with the signalman. At last it came. The sun was going down again as I made my way down the path into the dank and unworldly ravine. He was waiting for me at the bottom with his white light. I didn't call to you. It's as you asked.
I'm glad you didn't. I was waiting for you. Come along. We'll go into the hut and talk. It's warm there.
Good.
I'm glad you came. At times during the day, I feared you wouldn't.
I promised you.
Yes. I've made up my mind to tell you the story. The whole thing. Sit down.
Thank you.
But before I do, tell me, do you believe that I am in my right mind?
Yes. Yes, I believe that.
All right. Do you remember yesterday evening the fact that I took you for someone else?
Yes.
That's what's troubling me.
The mistake, you mean?
No. There's someone else I took you for.
Who is he?
I don't know.
Well, does he look like me?
I don't know. I've never seen his face. You see, The left arm is across the face, always. And the right arm is waved violently this way. It's as though he were trying to signal me, for God's sake, clear the way.
Where do you see him?
I may as well start at the beginning. One moonlight night about a year ago, I was sitting here when I heard a voice cry out, "Hello, below there!" It was just as you called last evening. I jumped up and looked out of the door and saw this someone else standing by the red light near the tunnel, waving, just as you did last night.
One arm across the face, the other waving toward you?
Yes, the voice seemed hoarse with shouting, and it cried, "Look out! Look out!" And then again, "Hello, below there, look out!" I caught up my lamp, turned it on, and ran toward this figure. "What's wrong?" I said. "What's happened?" It didn't speak. Stood just outside the blackness of the tunnel. I advanced so close upon it that I wondered at its keeping the arms across the eyes. I ran right up to it and had my hand outstretched to pull the arm away when it was gone.
Gone? Where?
I don't know. I ran on into the tunnel, 500 yards maybe. I stopped and held my lamp over my head. And all I saw were the wet stains trickling down the walls. I ran out faster than I'd run in, searched the area with my light, and then came back here and called Burnham and said the alarm had been given. Anything wrong? They answered, "All's well. Disregard alarm message."
Well, don't you suppose you could have imagined seeing him?
Yes, but you forget. I also heard him.
Yes, but listen to the wind whistling through the tunnel. It sounds almost human at times. It's possible to imagine...
Let me finish. You haven't heard the rest. Within 6 hours after the appearance, 6 hours, mind you, the 2:40 train came through the tunnel, slowed down and stopped. The engineer signaled me and I hurried up to the cab. What's the matter?
Don't know. One of the conductors signaled for a stop. Everything all right here?
Yes, just got the all clear signal.
Here comes the conductor now. Hello? What's wrong back there? What did you pull the cord for? An accident. Where's the signalman around here?
That's me.
You have a shack nearby.
Right over there.
What happened, man?
A woman was killed.
Killed? How?
She was passing between the coaches. I suppose she slipped, was caught between the couplings.
But how?
Nobody seems to know, sir. She was crushed horribly. On account of the other passengers, we've got to get the body off.
Have them take her to my shack.
You...
Have them take her... From the shock when one morning, just as day was breaking, I looked toward the red signal light and saw him again.
Did he cry out this time?
No. He was silent.
Did he wave his arm?
Yes, the right one. The left, as usual, was across his eyes. He seemed to be pointing down into the tunnel. He leaned against the shaft of the light like a statue over a grave.
Did anything happen? Any accident, anything?
Not immediately. He was there. I saw him. Then he was gone. I waited for the hours to pass, and when 6 hours went by and nothing had happened, I began to feel relieved. By nightfall, I had almost forgotten it and was able to read quite calmly as the hours passed. I was sitting here reading, the door open, when I heard a train. It was the midnight express from Brighton. I recognized the whistle. I got out my flag, stepped to the door. I could hear them for miles beyond the tunnel entrance. I listened to the wheels, filling the night with their driving, pounding, rhythmic beat. And I thought of the people on the train, the tired, worn-out picnickers and weekenders returning from Brighton. It made me feel responsible for them, as though I were their guardian and keeper. I listened to the rhythmic beat of the wheels. The train was nearing the tunnel mouth. I listened to the regular, powerful beat of them, and then suddenly I realized that they weren't regular. There was no rhythm, only the terrible, raging cry of a machine that has suddenly broken through its own power and is heading for destruction. It was the worst wreck on the line. They brought the dead and dying in here. They laid them at the place where he stood waving to me that very morning.
And this was the second accident after you'd seen him?
Yes. And the thing that is worrying me now, it came back again a week ago.
Oh.
Ever since, he's been there now and again by fits and starts.
Standing by the light?
Yes.
What does he seem to do?
The left arm is over the face. The right arm is waving. He seems to be trying to say, for God's sake, clear the way.
Can't believe it.
I have no peace or rest from it. It goes to me for many minutes together in a frightful manner. Below there, look out, look out. It stands waving to me.
Well, have you seen it tonight?
No. Not yet.
Well, will you come to the door with me and look for it now?
Yes. Yes, I will.
Do you see it?
No. It's not there.
Then let's go back.
It wasn't there now, but it may be there a moment from now. What troubles me is, what does this spectre mean? What is the danger? Where is the danger? There is danger overhanging somewhere on this line. Some dreadful calamity is about to happen. It's not to be doubted this third time after what has gone before. But what can I do?
Nothing that I can see.
If I telegraph danger, I can give no reason for it. I should get into trouble and do no one any good. They would think I was mad. I would wire danger, take care, and they would answer, what danger, where? And I would have to wire back, don't know, but for God's sake, take care. And they would, of course, discharge me. What else could they do?
Yes, I see.
When it first stood under that light, why didn't it tell me she is going to die? Let them keep her at home. When it came the second time, why didn't it tell me how the accident could have been averted? If it came on those occasions only to show me that its warnings were true, why doesn't it warn me plainly now? Why doesn't it tell me what is going to happen so that I can change it?
Listen, there's nothing you can do. Or rather, you're doing the only thing that any sane, normal person would do, and that's nothing. The important thing is to keep your balance now. Don't get worked up to the point that if you need to act later, you won't be able to.
Yes. You're right. Of course you're right.
You're doing your job as well as it's humanly possible to do. You're not responsible for the future. You're responsible only for the present. What happens at this switch, now? You've got to look at it that way.
I know. Only I can't forget that something is going to happen.
I don't doubt that. But if you keep your eyes open at all times, you may be able to prevent it.
I pray to God I may.
It's easy to say, but try not to think about it too much.
I try. But it's the responsibility that crushes me. Because of this spectre, because of this knowledge of things that will happen along this line, I am responsible for every child, every mother, every person that rides upon it. I know that something is going to happen. I ought to warn them, but I don't know how to warn them when they die. If they die, their deaths are on my shoulders.
Look, would you like me to spend the rest of the night with you? Perhaps it would help keep your mind off things.
No, thank you. I'll be all right. You don't know what a blessing it's been just to be able to tell you the whole story.
Would you like me to come back tomorrow night?
Would you mind?
No.
And when you write your story about me, about this job...
Yes?
If you could tell the whole story, everything I've told you, it would help lift this awful responsibility from my shoulders. People would know then. They might think me mad, but they would know. And the weight would be from my spirit.
Yes, I'll write that story tomorrow. Everything. You needn't be afraid that I'll skip anything. I'll bring it along with me and show it to you before I turn it in.
It would mean so much.
Yes. Now, I think it's best that I go.
Good night, then. And you will come back tomorrow?
Yes.
Can you find the path?
Easily. I'm beginning to know it by heart now. Good night. I went to bed immediately after returning to my lodgings. If I had slept unsoundly the night before, I slept little, if any, this night. There were the same dreams, the man's face, his eyes with their deep inner secret and pain, and in the background the sun going down over the ravine, and the figure, no longer my own, with one arm across the eyes and the other waving toward me, crying in a low moan, "Clear the way, clear the way." In the morning, when I came to work, I felt tired, almost feverish. I could hardly wait until sundown when I would again visit the signalman. I wanted to show him the story as I'd written it. At last, the hands of the clock pointed to 6:30, and I left the office on my way to the ravine. About half an hour later, I arrived at the top of the cutting. I glanced down, and there, close at the mouth of the tunnel, I saw a man, his left arm across his eyes, passionately waving his right arm. The nameless horror that oppressed me passed in a moment, for I saw that this man was a man indeed, and that there was a little group of other men standing at a short distance, to whom he seemed to be rehearsing the gesture he made. With an irresistible sense that something was wrong, with a self-reproachful fear that fatal mischief had come of my leaving the man there alone in his state of mind the night before, I descended the rocky path with all the speed I could make and ran up to the crowd. What's the matter here?
Signalman killed.
When?
Just a little while ago.
Not the man belonging to this post?
Aye.
Not the man I know?
You will recognize him, sir, if you are a friend to him. The body is over here.
There. You see? Oh. How did it happen?
He was cut down by the engine, sir, just as he was lighting that red lamp. No man on the line knew his work better. But somehow he wasn't clear of the outer rail. He had the lamp in his hand ready to light it as the engine came out of the tunnel. His back was toward it, and she cut him down. Here's the engineer now. Tom, show him how it happened.
Yes, how did it happen? I'm a reporter from the Times.
Well, sir, coming around the curve in the tunnel, I saw him at the end. There was no time to check the speed, but I always knew him to be very careful. Only this time, he didn't seem to pay any attention to the whistle. I finally shut it off when we were running down on him and called out to him.
What did you say?
I shouted, "Hello, below there! For God's sake, clear the way!"
No.
Yes, sir. That I shouted. Oh, it was a terrible thing, sir. I never left off calling to him. Finally, I put my left arm across the eyes so that I wouldn't have to see, and I waved this arm to the last. But it was no use, sir. No use. No use.
I walked away. I was trembling so that it took all my efforts to climb the rocky path to the top of the ravine. I knew the sun was going down in flames behind me, but I dared not look. I hurried back to my desk at the office and began writing the tragic end to the story.
Sir?
Yes, boy?
Is your copy ready, sir?
In just a moment.
Please hurry, sir. Piper goes to press in a half hour.
I'll have it ready. Come back in a few minutes.
All right, sir.
This, then, is the story as it was told to me and as I saw it. I make no judgment of it, no deductions. It happened. I know it happened. That is all. Except I bear with me the memory of a humble man lonely and isolated from this world of ours. One who bore the responsibility for his fellow men so strongly on his conscience that he died from it. For I am convinced that that alone is what brought him to this end, not the train, which was merely an instrument of fate. Signed, Charles Dickens.
All right. You can turn them on now.
You have just heard the eighth and the last in the summer series of Lights Out. Tonight's story, Charles Dickens' The Signalman, was adapted for radio by Frederick J. Lipp. Starring in the role of Charles Dickens was Nelson Olmsted. The Signalman was played by Herb Butterfield. Others in the cast included Boris Apland, Nathan Davis, and Jess Pugh. And now it's time to turn the lights out for the summer. We've enjoyed bringing you these shows, and if we've managed to send a few chills up and down your spine, well, that's what we set out to do. Beginning next week at this time, be sure to hear the new Judy Canova show, which returns to the air. You'll have the time of your life, so be sure to listen. Lights Out was produced and directed by Albert Cruz. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar.
Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby and have ourselves a treat.
It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. This episode of the Baba Ghoulie Show is brought to you by Waddle's Tunes over at Channel Watchwaddle. Oh, that's where I left that bar of soap.
Hands are dirty, don't be a dope. Clean them up with bubbly soap.
Now that's some clean humor. Hope all you ghoulies out there are enjoying today's radio program. Be sure to check out Channel Watchwaddle's Midnight Spook Show at 10:45. And don't forget to wear your 3D viewer helmet for the full in-the-movie experience.
And now, stay tuned for the mystery program that is unique among all mystery programs. Because even when you know who is guilty, you always receive a startling surprise at the final curtain. In the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline, invite you to sit back and enjoy another strange story by The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now for the Signal Oil Company, The Whistler's strange story. Two Smart People.
The story of the two people sitting quietly together over their cocktails in a hotel suite in San Francisco began weeks before on a speeding transcontinental train. The two people were not sitting together. Corinne Sloane, as a matter of fact, was paying very little attention to the man sitting across the car. On the other hand, she was paying a great deal of attention to the things being said to her by one Mr. Kuvar, a stoutish gentleman who seemed anxious to impress his beauteous listener.
Importing is a highly fascinating business, Miss Sloane. It takes years to know your way around in it.
Exporting and importing. Why, the very words conjure excitement, Mr. Kuvar. And you must make a great deal of money.
Let me order you another drink, Miss Sloane.
Oh, no. I still haven't finished this one.
Been talking so much here, I've scarcely touched mine.
Oh, well, it's also very interesting. This is a business trip, too?
Yes. I would say that this little scrap of paper, this bill of lading, my dear, is an open sesame to quite a sum.
Bill of lading? I don't even know what one is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Too much talk about business anyway. Just a paper covering an import shipment, that's all.
And that's why you're going west?
To San Francisco, yes.
Oh.
Interesting place. Always enjoy visiting it. I remember a time when I arrived there on a trip.
You continue to look at him, don't you, Corinne? But you've stopped listening. Because Mr. Kuvar has said the magic words you've been waiting for. Since nearly a week ago, when you chanced to overhear him in a mysteriously furtive telephone conversation from a Chicago hotel room adjoining your own. Those words come back to you now exactly as they did through the open windows of the hotel room. At that time, while he didn't realize it, Mr. Kuvar was standing only the width of a wall away from you and saying,
My shipment is due to arrive in San Francisco Saturday. Huh? Yes, I understand. How will I make delivery? Huh? The Mid-City Hotel. What name? You'll be registered there? Good. I'll have what you want. And the payment to me, it will be in cash, $50,000, and I'll never be mentioned in connection with the transaction? Good. I'm leaving Friday to pick up the goods. I understand. Goodbye.
That short conversation you overheard is what brought you on this train, isn't it, Corinne? Caused your accidental meeting and conversations with Mr. Kuvar. And now you're well prepared for your next move. A tiny white tablet hidden in your glove. You glance around the car. There's only you, Kuvar, and the man sitting across the way. Your gloved hand darts out swiftly, passing over Kuvar's unfinished cocktail. And then you sit back, wait, and appear interested in his rambling story.
The captain himself said he'd never brought his ship through a worse fog, when suddenly we passed through the Golden Gate, and the fog parted, and there in all its splendor was this beautiful city in the hills. Magnificent, my dear. I'll never forget it. Never.
My, you tell it so graphically, I can almost see it in your words. Mr. Kuvar, you still haven't finished your drink.
Huh? Oh, so I haven't.
That's what you need after all that storytelling.
No, I think I've had enough. If you'll excuse me, Miss Sloane, I'm going back and rest a bit before dinner.
Oh, but you can't do that.
What? Huh?
Oh, how dreadful of me after you've entertained me so. Perhaps I'll see you at dinner, Mr. Kuvar.
Oh, indeed you will. My pleasure. And now you will excuse me until, say, 7 o'clock.
Of course.
He walks away without touching his drink. A moment later, the man across from you gets up and leaves the car, too. Sitting there alone, you wonder what your next step will be. Decide that you'll wait until after 7. Search Kuvar's compartment while he's waiting for you in the dining car. The time passes slowly. Then at 1:15, you try the door, look inside.
Mr. Kuvar! Mr. Kuvar, what's happened? Did you fall? What?
You stop, almost ready to step out, call the conductor. When you think of something else, quickly you search the unconscious man for the precious bill of lading. You look in his wallet, briefcase, search the room and his luggage. But it isn't anywhere to be found. Is it, Corinne?
Someone else. Someone else got it. I better get out of here.
Back in the club car, you sit down, dazed, wondering.
Excuse me.
Then realize that someone is speaking. The man who was sitting across from you and Kuvar earlier.
Excuse me, but are you all right, Miss Sloan?
Oh, certainly.
Well, you didn't seem to hear me when I spoke.
Well, it's nothing. So you know my name?
Oh, I heard the gentleman you were talking with a little while ago call you Miss Sloan. Did you by any chance lose something?
Lose something? Like what?
Like this glove. I saw it near the chair when you were sitting with the stout gentleman.
Oh, yes, it is mine, thank you.
Oh, not at all, Miss Sloan. Say, the train's slowing down. I didn't think we stopped here.
Where are we?
I'm sure I don't know. Oh, Porter.
Yes, sir?
Why are we stopping?
They're getting an ambulance, sir. A gentleman in car 79's injured.
Is it anything serious?
Oh, no, ma'am, but we'd never stop here ordinarily. They're going to take him to the nearest hospital.
Oh, I see.
Oh, the poor chap.
I think I'll go ask the conductor if there's anything I can do, even though I just met him. He's...
Met who, Miss Sloan? I don't believe I heard the injured man's name mentioned.
Sorry, I'm confused. Excuse me.
Certainly. No, I'm going to offer to help, too.
It was a terrible slip of the tongue, wasn't it, Corinne? Indicating to the strange young man that you knew who was injured before anyone had even mentioned his name. Oddly, he didn't seem too surprised, but you feel that he believed your quick explanation, that you were confused. You hurry from the lounge car, and then, a moment or two later, you see him again in the small crowd that gathers near the steps as Mr. Kuvar's unconscious form is carried off the train.
Going to be all right?
Yes. Just give us room here, folks. Please, give us room. Let the doctor through. Now, lady,
Mother?
would you finish what you were just telling me?
I don't know if it'll be of much help, conductor, but it does seem as if this might be more than an accident.
Well, this chap you saw entering Mr. Kuvar's compartment, what part of the train did he come from?
The forward cars from the direction of the club car.
Mm-hmm. You mean he could have stepped in there, struck the gentleman?
You look up, Corinne, just in time to catch the expression on the face of the man who sat across from you, handed your glove back just a little while ago. You see him flinch slightly, and suddenly you're certain about him. So certain that you detach yourself from the crowd on the station platform and board the train unnoticed.
Porter?
Yes, ma'am?
That gentleman I was talking to a moment ago, he's in my car, isn't he?
No, ma'am. He's in car 52, bedroom C. But, ma'am, I think he's out there on the platform with the others.
I know, but I have a surprise for him. We're old friends, you see.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
You hurry through the cars to 52, room C, praying that he won't wonder about you and follow. Inside the room, you search swiftly, methodically. Find what you're looking for in the simplest of places, his briefcase. Quickly, you'll go back to your own room, call the porter for your luggage, and walk forward to explain to the conductor.
Oh, you're getting off here, miss?
Yes, I didn't realize who it was that was injured.
Mr. Kuvar's a friend of yours?
Well, we have mutual friends and interests. I'm going to stay here overnight, notify his friends, and visit him at the hospital in the morning. Would you fix up my ticket?
Hey, the agent in the station moved you into another train.
Well, what's this? You leaving us?
Well, the lady is a friend of the injured gentleman.
Oh, really? Well, now, I think you're doing a very nice thing.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you approve.
Oh, I do, really. Such genuine interest on such a short acquaintance. Mr. Kuvar must have something.
So thank you for returning my lost property, Mr.
Burton, Larry Burton. You mean your glove?
Yes, my glove.
Your baggage is off, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Porter.
Well, goodbye, Miss Sloan.
Goodbye, Mr. Burton. I hope you have a very enjoyable trip. And again, thanks for everything.
The high-compression motors of many of today's newer cars are designed and built to perform best on a premium quality gasoline, such as Signal Ethyl. But if you're driving an older model, maybe you think you wouldn't notice any difference in Signal Ethyl. Well, you'd change your mind if you just see some of the vintage models that fill up at the Signal Ethel pump and hear the enthusiasm of their drivers. For instance, a chap who lives up in a hilly section was telling me, you should hear some cars clatter and struggle when they try to pull my hill. But with Signal Ethel, my 41 model walks right up in high. Another driver of a 39 model remarked, on cool mornings, I hear some of my friends complaining about hard starting. But with Signal Ethel, my car starts quick as a rabbit. Yes, folks say mighty nice things about Signal Ethel because this premium grade of Signal's famous Go Farther gasoline is a real super fuel, scientifically engineered to bring out the best in any car of any age. For proof, just treat your car to a tank full of Signal Ethel. Then see if you don't feel a difference, a wonderful difference, in Signal Ethel.
It was almost amusing, wasn't it, Corinne? The swift exchange on the train with Kuvar and Larry Burton. First, Kuvar's failure to drink the cocktail into which you had dropped the sedative. Then Larry's bold attack, which may even yet prove fatal to Kuvar. Larry must have been very confident that you didn't suspect him to let you out of his sight without checking the contents of his briefcase. He'll be confused and angry when he discovers that the precious little slip of paper, which seems to be worth so much, is missing. It's safe in your purse, isn't it, Corinne, as you board the next airplane west. At San Francisco, you check into a hotel, hurry to the steamer docks and the freight offices of the American-Italian Steamship Company.
This shipment will arrive on the SS Allegretti, miss. Docks tomorrow, 4 p.m.
Tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Do you know what the delivery charges will be? I mean, from the dock to my hotel.
You staying in the city?
At the Bayview, yes.
Let's see. Charge won't be much.
Well, I wanted to pay now and have the shipment sent there.
All right, ma'am. I'll frig it for you. No trouble at all.
You take a taxi back to the center of town. Spend a couple of hours window shopping, stroll through some of the stores, then return to your hotel suite, confident, pleased with the way things have turned out. But the moment you step inside your bedroom, you know something is wrong, don't you, Corinne? Your suitcase on the floor, open, your things scattered about. As you reach out for the phone on the bedside table, the closet door suddenly swings open.
Hello.
You.
Larry Burton is the name, sweetheart. Remember?
How did you...
I got off the train to stop after you did. Hopped the plane, and here I am.
But how did you know where...
Finding you was easy. Just a couple of phone calls. You shouldn't have registered under your own name. And now you better give me what I came for.
What are you talking about?
That little item you took from my briefcase on the train. I want it.
I don't know what you mean.
Sure you do, honey. Sure you do. Now, look, why don't you be a good girl and hand it over?
I told you to leave here. This is my room.
Now, look, sweetheart, I don't want any trouble.
Well, you'll have more than you can handle if you don't leave. A bellboy's on his way up. I asked him to bring me a paper.
Oh, sure.
Will you leave?
After you've given me that bill of lading, yeah.
And if I don't?
You better play it smarter.
Now, will you leave, Mr. Burton? Just a moment, please. Well?
Okay. Like I said, I don't want any trouble. But I'll be around, sweetheart. I think I'll just get myself a room right here in your hotel so I can be real close to you. See you later.
It was a shock, wasn't it, Corinne, finding Larry Burton in your hotel suite, when all the time you thought he was still on the train. Long after he's gone, you pace the floor, wondering what you must do, how you can outsmart him. Finally, you pick up the phone, call the steamship company, and ask them to have the shipment delivered to another hotel, the Carson House. Late that afternoon, you leave your rooms, and as you step out onto the street...
Hello again.
Why don't you leave me alone?
You mind if I walk with you?
I do mind, yes.
Well, I don't seem to be doing so well. Where are we heading? The Carson House?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. But I just couldn't help overhearing your telephone conversation this afternoon. In fact, I'd been right outside for an hour hoping I would hear it. Open transom, you know. Should watch those things.
Thanks for the advice.
You're welcome. And I've got lots more advice for you, sweetheart.
I'm not interested.
Now, look. I've got a proposition for you.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. You know, Corinne, we'd make a great team, the two of us.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I knew it from the time I saw you on the train. When you dropped that tablet in Kuvar's cocktail. There I said to myself, there is a girl after my own heart.
Do go on, Mr. Burton.
You know, you could be accused of attempted murder.
What I put in Mr. Kuvar's drink was not poison, merely a sleeping tablet. But speaking of murder, have you read the afternoon paper?
Afraid not.
Mr. Kuvar is dead.
Well, that's too bad, isn't it?
I could tell the police what I know.
But you won't.
What makes you think so?
Oh, look, Corinne, you're fumbling around in the dark. You don't know what you're mixed up in. This shipment of Mr. Kuvar's, it's very unusual.
And worth a lot of money.
True, but when you get the stuff, where do you deliver it? Who makes the payoff? How?
I'll find out.
No, never. You couldn't. Unless you followed Mr. Kuvar around for weeks the way I did.
You're suggesting, then...
That we work together on this. Well?
I'll have to think it over.
Well, all right. And while you're doing that, why don't we have dinner together?
All right, Mr. Burton. Why don't we?
It's the smart thing to do, isn't it, Corinne? Yes, to play along with Larry Burton, get the information you need, and then arrange to get him out of the way and collect the payoff money alone. Dinner with Larry at one of the big hotels is a most enjoyable affair, isn't it? He's properly amusing, very attentive, and finally, you have to admit to yourself, quite handsome. And then later, as the two of you are dancing...
Having fun, Corinne?
Of course I am. Dinner was superb. The music's just the way I like it. And you're an awfully good dancer.
Ooh. Oh, thanks. You've been rather quiet all evening. I was just wondering if...
No, I'm sorry. It's just that I have something on my mind. Remember?
You reached a decision yet?
Yes.
Well?
All right, Larry. We're a team.
You sure?
Of course.
You wouldn't be figuring on a double cross?
No, Larry. The way I feel, I couldn't double-cross you.
Oh, that's what I've been waiting to hear, sweetheart. Come here.
Larry, please, not here on the dance floor.
Oh, who cares, honey? Who cares?
All right. Who cares?
The soft lights, the music, Larry holding you close in his arms and then kissing you, Corinne. For a moment, you almost forgot all the plans you'd made, didn't you? Yes, but only for a moment. When you return to your hotel, you drop into Larry's room for a nightcap.
Now, just make yourself comfortable, sweetheart.
Thanks.
Now, what'll it be? Scotch or bourbon?
Scotch, darling.
All right, check.
One thing.
Huh?
Who are we dealing with, anyway?
You mean on the payoff?
That's all right. As your partner, shouldn't I know?
Well, I guess you should, sweetheart. Okay, it's a fellow named Arlington. J. Arlington.
Staying at the Mid-City Hotel, isn't he?
Yeah. Right again. Well, here's your drink.
To Mr. J. Arlington. Salute.
You have all the parts now, haven't you, Corinne? All the parts to the jigsaw puzzle for the highest stakes you've ever dreamed of. An hour or so later, that same night, back in your own suite, you put through a call to Mr. J. Arlington.
Hello?
Mr. Arlington?
Yes?
This is Corinne Sloane, a friend of Kuvar's.
He's dead.
And so I read in the papers. Shame. I was very fond of him.
That's all?
We worked together.
I see. What's on your mind?
Well, he was supposed to call you about the shipment.
That's right.
So I'm calling you instead.
Got the stuff?
I will have tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Have it delivered to me here at the hotel.
You'll have the money.
Yes.
Good. See you tomorrow, Mr. Arlington.
It's done, isn't it, Corinne? You've established contact with a man who is going to pay you $50,000. You should be pleased, shouldn't you? But something's troubling you. It's Larry, isn't it? The following afternoon, the shipment is delivered to your hotel suite. Heavy wooden box. You're puzzled, wonder what it is. Whether to call a bellboy to help you open it. Then, as you're fixing a drink, Larry arrives unexpectedly, and the two of you open the box and examine the contents.
Rugs. Just some Italian rugs. Larry, who'd want to pay $50,000 for these?
I told you this was a very unusual shipment.
What's this all about?
Here. Here. Take a look at this rug. This label here, sewed in the corner.
No. What about it? It just gives the rug size, value, pattern number, materials used, date of manufacture. Well, just things like that.
Yeah, that's what you think.
I don't get you.
It's a code, sweetheart.
What?
Those value figures, pattern numbers, and dates are code words.
But what? Who?
You remember that $250,000 Pemberthy payroll robbery last year?
Oh, yes. The money was never recovered, was it?
No. But the words and numbers on this label tell somebody where to find that $250,000.
Arlington?
Right.
$250,000. Too bad we can't decipher this.
Well, I'll settle for the $50,000.
Oh, so will I. Do you know who sent these rugs and this code?
You've heard of a gent named Despagos, haven't you?
Chris Despagos, the racketeer? He was deported, wasn't he?
Yeah, sure. But now he wants some of that dough.
Oh, I see, but why didn't
Uncle
he just...
Sam watches people who get mail from certain countries, especially cables and code. So he sends his instructions this way.
Rather neat, I'd say.
Neat and worth $50,000.
And that's where we come in, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, sweetheart.
50-50?
50-50.
That calls for a toast, darling.
Sure, Corinne. I was going to make the same suggestion.
We'll drink a toast to the future, Larry. To us.
If you've ever tried to drive your car with even one spark plug missing, you know what a big difference some little things can make. That's why the quality accessories which signal dealers carry can be mighty important to your car's performance. For instance, if it has been 10,000 miles since your spark plugs were replaced, a new set installed by your signal dealer will not only increase pep and power, but save up to 10% on gasoline, too. Another item which should be checked periodically is your oil filter. If the filter cartridge is dangerously clogged, your signal dealer can install a new one. Likewise, if your windshield wiper is leaving blinding streaks across your vision, your signal dealer can install a new blade while you wait. And other quality accessories he carries include guaranteed signal batteries, fan belts, radiator hose, light bulbs, polishes, and nationally advertised Lee tires. So remember, in addition to being headquarters for the famous Go Farther gasoline, signal dealers carry most everything you need in the way of accessories to make your car run better, look better, and last longer.
The story of the two people sitting together quietly over cocktails came to an end there in Corinne Sloane's hotel suite in San Francisco. Homicide Lieutenant Davidson, still investigating this strange double tragedy, hours after its discovery, could fit only a few pieces of the puzzle together, answer but a few questions put to him by members of the local press.
Who found him, Lieutenant?
The maid came in to fix the rooms, discovered the two of them sitting there, both dead.
I heard the name Arlington mentioned. How does he fit into the picture?
Wish I knew. According to papers found on both Larry Burton and the Sloan girl, they each had an appointment to meet Arlington at the Mid-City Hotel.
Both of them?
Yeah. When we checked with the Mid-City Hotel, found out that Burton himself had checked in there as Arlington.
You mean Burton and Arlington were one and the same guy?
Mm-hmm. They said at the hotel he'd stayed there only long enough to get a phone call from some woman.
The late Corinne Sloan, here.
Could be.
Well, who do you figure poisoned the two cocktails? Corinne Sloan or Burton?
It's hard to say. Looks to me like each of them poisoned the other. Just two smart people who outsmarted each other.
Let that whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler, each Sunday night at the same time. Meanwhile, Signal Oil Company and the friendly independent dealers who help you go farther with Signal gasoline hope you'll remember. Regardless of what gasoline you use, you'll enjoy more miles of happy driving if you drive at sensible speeds, obey traffic regulations, and avoid taking chances. You may even save a life. Possibly your own. Featured in tonight's story were Bill Foreman as the Whistler, Betty Lou Gerson, Wally Mayer, Herb Butterfield, Herbert Litton, and Bill Boucher. The Whistler was produced and directed by George W. Allen, with story by Joel Malone, music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. The Whistler is entirely fictional, and all characters portrayed on The Whistler are also fictional. Any similarity of names or resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Remember to tune in at the same time next Sunday, when the Signal Oil Company will bring you another strange story by The Whistler. Marvin Miller speaking for the Signal Oil Company. Stay tuned now for the Horace Height Show, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is the CBS Radio Network.
Thank you, OTR, for another Baba Ghoulie horror show. Now, all you ghoulies, head over to Channel Watchwaddle for the Midnight Spook Show. And be sure to wear your 3D viewer helmet for the full in-the-movie experience.
Huh?